Why don't you say it, baby? Not like I don't mind, but we're so toxic lately. Don't you waste my time. Who you been fucking faking like I'm out of sight? This love ain't real and we don't feel right. It's me or them, but you won't decide. So won't you let
My mom got married again when I turned 18. I stopped bringing men home because she always tried to seduce them and get them to say she was more prettier than me. My mom was crazy, but my stepfather was very cool. My mom didn't deserve him. He was always very kind to me. At this point, I just wanted to finish my education, get a good job and move out of the house because staying with my mother was becoming too much for me. She put hair dye once in my face cream and it took weeks just to get the hair dye stains from my face. I realized she only loved me when I was little because I looked ugly. And sometimes I wish I would look ugly again so that she would love me again. I met the love of my life when I turned 20 and my mom went too far this time. She knew how much I loved him and so she thought it would be an achievement to get him to sleep with her. She tried seducing him several times. When it didn't work, she actually went over to his house, acted as if she wanted him to get us closer again, and then laced this drink with a drug and slept with him. This broke my heart. I wanted to sleep with my stepfather to get back at her, but I didn't want to stoop down to her level. So I asked my boyfriend to report her to the police because this was rape. She did all this out of spite. Why can't she just be like other mothers? Anyway, she's in prison now, and I'm married to the love of my life. I'm scared to give birth, especially to a girl, because I'm afraid I'll go crazy like my mom did. Particularly because everyone said she was normal before she gave birth to me. Jennifer was an athlete. She was very fit and her diet was completely different from mine. One day at lunch break, I felt a slight discomfort in the middle of my chest. It lasted for some few minutes and then I fainted. I was rushed to the hospital and my mom was called. I was told I had a heart attack and that if I don't change my diet and lose some weight, it will be very deadly for me. Can you believe my mom told me back at home that the doctor doesn't know what he was talking about? That was when I started thinking that maybe my mom doesn't want what was best for me after all. I asked Jennifer to help me lose weight. I worked very hard, sweated a lot, and lost all the weight in 6 months. I was shocked at how beautiful I looked after I lost all the weight. I looked exactly like my mother. Everybody wanted to be my friend at school. And this revealed the true colors of my mom. She did everything in her power to make me look ugly. When she failed, it became a competition at home. She started dressing up like a teenager. That was when I understood why she went out of her way to make me fat. My mom was scared I was more prettier than her. Part 4 is up. My mom started feeding me ice cream for breakfast, greasy fatty foods for lunch, and I ate pizza almost every day for dinner. And she gave them to me in large quantities. I was very happy about these changes in my diet. I was just 12 years, and which 12 years old wouldn't be happy to eat this every day? And it was my mom who was feeding me these things. She won't do anything to hurt me, right? Every time I left for school, she packed a ton of sweets in my bag. She said she was doing all this to make me happy. By the time I turned 14, I had become obese, and kids at school stayed away from me because I had bad breath. I think the bad breath was due to all the sweets I was eating. My teeth were decaying. My mom did nothing about it. She kept overfeeding me every day. One day in school, my teeth were hurting badly. A teacher asked me to open my mouth. I did, and when she saw the state of my teeth, she called my mom and told her about it. I think that was the only reason why she took me to the dentist. And all this while, I didn't know my mom was evil. All the food she was feeding me was making me sluggish and slow. I was always feeling sleepy and I was tired of eating them. But whenever I asked her to change my diet, she told me she knew what was best for me. A new girl in school became my best friend. Let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer saved my life. Part 3 is up. She has always been a liar and she was never there for me. But she has gone too far this time and I have to give her a taste of her own medicine. My mother is not like other mothers. Other mothers try to make their kids' life as happy and as comfortable as they can. All my mom does is to make my life as miserable as she can. And she enjoys making my life miserable. I never knew my father. He died when I was very little and my mom hardly speaks about him. My auntie once told me that the first statement my mom made when she saw me the day I was born was, "Thank goodness goodness she's ugly. I was a very ugly baby with a huge head and beady eyes. But why should my mom be happy about that? She treated me so well when I was little. I remember falling asleep in her arms at the age of 6 years. My mom was very beautiful. She had long luscious hair with a perfect face and body. Her skin was like silk. I could stare at her for hours when I was little. She looked like an angel. I didn't know she was the devil in disguise. She used to look at me back then and just burst out laughing. I was just little, so I thought it was normal. But she loved me back then. Or so I thought. Everything changed when I turned 12. I started receiving compliments from strangers on my beauty. And I didn't even know I was beautiful then. One day, a man she was dating told her I might grow up to be more beautiful than she was. I think that was what started it all. Part 2 is up.
You guys are not even going to believe it when I say that when I was 15, I almost became a stepmom. Yes, we did skip a few chapters, so let's start from the beginning of the book. Back in the day, in middle school, there was this new bad boy in town. And for the purpose of the story, his name will be Dean. So Dean was a little bit older, but he would date some of the middle school girls. A little sus, I know, but even beyond this man had a bad reputation. And I did my best to stay away from guys like him. That was until the second quarter of my sophomore year in high school happened. And while my mom and I were walking around Walmart looking for a pair of jeans, we ran into Dean's mom. Well, our mom started talking and bonded really well. And that's when his mom suggested that we would be a really cute couple. She talked about how much he's changed, so I went ahead and added him on Snap. And the insane thing is that we actually started having really good conversation, like deep existential ones. But one night I was bored and started to creep on his Instagram account, and I came across a gender reveal photo. This man had a whole son on the way, and I accidentally liked the photo, and that's when I got a text from Dean saying, "Go ahead, ask me."
We hired a housekeeper that comes over several times a week to get the house clean since my husband and I are busy with work. We have 2 kids, Jeremy 16 and Raya 14. Now Jeremy's a jokester. He likes pulling pranks on everyone in the house, and that included the housekeeper. He did stuff like throw her purse and hide her wallet, and he got punished for it and told not to do again because our housekeeper almost quit and we didn't want that. A few days ago, I got a call from Jeremy while he was having friends over to tell me that he saw the housekeeper sneak one of my jewelry into her purse and asked me to come home immediately. I freaked out and tried to call my husband, but he didn't pick up. I went home and I was mad, and I talked to the housekeeper and she denied putting anything in her purse. That's when I demanded to see her purse, and my jewelry was in fact there. The housekeeper started swearing on her children that she didn't put it in there and that she had no idea how it got in there. I believed her and figured that Jeremy had something to do with it given his history. I switched my attention towards him and had him explain to me exactly how he saw our housekeeper do it. He told me what he saw, but a friend of his came forward and said that he saw Jeremy put the jewelry inside the lady's purse and was trying to get her in trouble. Jeremy yelled at his friend and then told me it was just one of his pranks, but I was furious. I kicked the rest of his friends who covered for him out, and I punished him hard and apologized to the housekeeper. However, my husband reacted unexpectedly after he heard and said that I was wrong for choosing to believe the housekeeper over our son even though there was a witness, but he said his friend must have said this to get him in trouble or because the housekeeper paid him to side with her, which was shockingly absurd of him to say. He said I wasn't being a good mother, and my first instinct is to always believe my son in whatever he says and never question him in front of his friends like that. I'm honestly so confused. Did I mess up? Am I the asshole for believing my housekeeper over my son?
Kelly, I know these people tricked you into coming here. Let's leave, now. Mom took my hand and started pulling me out, but I pulled my arm away and stepped back. Kelly, what are you doing? No one tricked me into coming here, Mom. I came because I wanted to. And these people aren't strangers. They're my family. What are you talking about? Your dad never cared about you, and now these people have brainwashed you. Amber, that's not fair. You have your family. What do you want with mine? Mom, stop! You brainwashed me. You always told me they were evil. But the last few weeks, I've received nothing but love from them. Today, I realized how happy it felt to be among family. And as much as I love you, I want this too, Mom. Why can't I have both? Well, you can't. You have to choose. It's me or him. Are you coming or not? But when I didn't move, she stormed off angrily. I felt unhappy, but I wasn't going to let her emotionally blackmail me. Mom refused to talk to me for the next few weeks, and I did the same. She threw herself even more into her work, and I'd hardly see her around. But then one day, I got a call from her office. She'd fainted and been taken to the hospital. I called Dad, and immediately he took me there. The doctor said she'd overworked herself and had a breakdown. Just make sure she rests for the next few weeks and has nothing to worry about. Before I went to see Mom, I turned to Dad. I need to know. Just tell me what happened between you and Mom, please. Dad looked at me and sighed.
I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, Callie, but your mom became a bit crazy. She would throw tantrums over the smallest things and she didn't trust me at all. We were miserable and fighting all the time, and once we got divorced, she was so possessive about you. She just changed her address and numbers and wouldn't let me see you. But I'm still sorry because I should have tried harder for you.
So finally, I knew. I felt sad to hear Mom had been that way and how she had ended things with my dad. The next few weeks, I made sure Mom stayed put in that bed. Lisa helped me with all my schoolwork, while Dad made sure we had everything we needed. His wife even came over often to cook and clean for us, and I was so grateful that I didn't have to deal with all this alone. A couple of weeks later, I was reading by Mom's bedside when suddenly she took my hand.
Callista, I've had a lot of time to think, and I really owe you an apology, honey. I'm sorry for keeping you away from your dad. He did try to get in touch.
Mom, it's okay. I know. Dad told me everything.
I know I drove him away. And then I got even more bitter and he'd moved on and married someone. It made me crazier, and you were all I had. I just didn't want you to get close to him. I think I need therapy, Callie. I know your dad cares about you, and it actually feels nice to know that there was someone to take care of us while I was sick. I'll be better. I won't make you choose again. You deserve a family.
So do you. Say that, Mom. What did he do?
I can't tell you. It was awful. Just trust me, okay? He and his family are evil.
But Mom, Lisa is...
You think she's any good? No. Lisa and her mom are horrible people, just like him. And now he's back thinking he can just take you away from me?
Mom burst into tears and fell to the ground. I went ahead and hugged her tight. I'm sorry, Mom. I had no idea they were so bad and that you'd be so hurt. Please, don't cry. No one's taking me. I love you the most. That night, I snuggled into Mom's bed and slept with her, and she looked happy. But I couldn't stop thinking, what weren't my parents telling me? The next day, I was sitting in my classroom working on my project when Lisa came running to me.
Hey sis, Dad asked me to give you these cupcakes and we can hang out at lunch.
Go away, Lisa, and take your stupid stuff with you. I don't want anything to do with you ever again. I got up from my seat in anger, and somehow my chair hit Lisa, and she fell to the ground with all the cupcakes all over her. Everyone gasped, and Lisa looked so embarrassed.
You're so mean, Callista. I'm gonna kill you.
She leapt forward and pushed my project model to the ground, smashing it to bits. I grabbed her hair and we broke into a wild fight. The teachers came running and pulled us apart, and then our parents were called in. Dad was the first one to arrive, and he instantly hugged Lisa.
What happened, sweetie? Are you okay?
Mom was right. He didn't even look at me. He didn't care about me. And then Lisa told him I pushed her on purpose. That lying witch.
Callista, how can you hit your own
She's not my sister, and you're not my dad. Do you understand me? Just stay away from me.
I ran out of there in angry tears, and after that, even though Dad tried to talk to me, I completely refused to. But he still sent me gifts on Christmas and my birthdays that I always hid from Mom. For some reason, I just couldn't throw them away. Time went by, but Lisa was still there at school with me, and no matter how much I tried to avoid her, she'd somehow managed to always be in my face. In the 8th grade, we both joined the dance club, but when it was time to select the lead dancer for an upcoming event, the teachers chose me, and Lisa looked super pissed. A day before the competition, I was in the changing room when someone locked the door from outside and turned off the lights. What in the world? I tried to make my way around in the dark, and I tripped over something and landed on the floor. Minutes later, Lisa and her nasty friends opened the door and they were all laughing at me.
Seems like you won't be able to dance now, loser.
You witch. I'll make you pay for this. Oh, ouch! I sprained my ankle pretty bad, and just like that, Lisa grabbed the role of the lead dancer, but I wasn't gonna let her get away with it. While Lisa was performing on stage, I cut the cable wires and the music stopped, and so did Lisa. Her performance was spoiled, and I even paid some kids to throw rotten tomatoes and eggs at her. Seeing her screaming and running off the stage was awesome. A few weeks later, our school had organized an adventure camping trip that I immediately signed up for.
and I was so annoyed to see Lisa had too. But the worst was when the teacher announced the teammates' names, and mine was frickin' Lisa. We both ran to the teacher and begged her to change that, but she just wouldn't.